Hey, eight points for the story, 10 points for the Aussie accent, man. Well done. Well done. What's up, Brent?
Here we are, sir.
Yeah. Here we
How
are.
are you on this fine evening?
I'm great, man. You know what?
What?
You know what you get to do, Brent?
What do I get to do?
Well, we're recording this on October 29th. You get to spend my last day as a 34-year-old
No way.
with me. That's right.
Tomorrow's your birthday?
Tomorrow's my birthday, October 30th.
You're going to be 35?
I'm going to be 35, man. I know. The world is coming to an end for me.
You were just a kid the other day.
And nobody likes me. Nah, it's fine. It's okay. Yeah, but here we are. You know,
These are the
it,
final moments of your 34th year. How about that? What time is it?
Yeah.
You've got roughly 2.5 hours.
Currently 9:25. So
Well, it is. It's my distinct pleasure, sir.
yeah. I know. You would rather be doing nothing else.
Now you cross over into another demograph, don't you?
What does that mean? I don't know what that means.
Well,
Oh, as a 35-year-old, I
Right.
change. Oh, it only ever went up to 34 from 30. Oh my gosh.
Yep. 19 to 34. 35 to 55.
Oh, I got to rethink everything now. Jeez.
54.
Change my credit card number. Got to update my social insurance number.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Start saving your money for the retirement home. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Have you seen the economy? I couldn't do it even if I tried.
Dude.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
I also decided to buy a truck, so that didn't help on the gas prices. So
When did you buy that truck?
The beginning of this year.
What does it
Beginning of
cost
this
to fill it up, if you don't mind? Is it $100?
At least. I don't think I ever spend any less than 110
Jesus.
to fill it up. But I did learn some tricks. I learned some tricks on the place where you can believe everybody, Facebook. So I did learn some tricks from some very savvy and trustworthy people on a random group on how to hack life, which is when you fill up your gas tank, fill it up from half.
Right.
Because apparently, I don't know what it does, but it's just better for mileage. Fill it up from half. Fill up in the morning because the gas under the earth, when it's colder, I think it's just better again for your, it doesn't disperse. It's cold. So it stays, fills up, stays longer. And don't squeeze it, the nozzle all the way up. Don't let it blast in there fast. Now, I know a little bit of that one because when you spray the gas in there, it starts kicking dirt up or anything else in the tank, and it starts creating fumes.
Okay.
Sorry, it doesn't kick up dirt. That's the last one. I'll tell you about the last one. It starts making more fumes than actual petrol in your vehicle.
Okay.
So it starts taking up space with gas. Rather than actually the liquid gas. The one about dirt is don't fill up when you see a gas tanker filling up the gas station. I don't think you're even allowed to do that, but because if you're filling up while they're putting gas in, that's what's kicking up dirt, and you're getting dirt into your tank, and you don't want that. So fill it up when it's cold out in the morning. Fill it up at half a tank. Do not squeeze it all the way. Leave it at that first latch. Just nice and easy going in. Yep. And then don't fill up when you see the tanker replenishing the fuel at the station.
Look at you. I like how proud of yourself you are. It's your face is very... You're
because I can't... Yeah, I can't even explain the other reasons for doing it. Fill it up from halfway because the guy on the internet said so. Don't squeeze it too fast because the guy on the internet said so. And fill it up when it's cold because the guy on the internet said so. And, that's my reasoning. That's what I'm proud of. So, yeah, man. Yeah.
You're like a 34-year-old Ralph Nader.
Hey, man. Really, I don't get the reference because I'm too young, but that's good. That's good. I'm sure somebody's laughing, but
good for you. That's great.
So
I thought you said you were going to say, on the internet, the advice was like fill up your tank and then drive away without paying for it.
That would really help you save your money for the time being. You're right. That's so good. Yeah. So, anyways, that's there you go. Hot tip for gas, folks. Thanks for tuning in.
Wow.
We'll see you next week when we talk about Blizzard of Oz.
That's right. Consumer reporting with Alex Huard.
That's it.
Well done.
Yeah. Yeah. At least this week I can remember that Osbourne's daughter's name is Kelly, but that was tough. That was a rough one to watch.
That's a weird thing. I said, I still honestly don't know how my brain works. You remember, Bailey Quarters and Jennifer Marlowe from WKRP in 1970, God knows what, but I can't remember Kelly Osbourne's name.
Nope.
Very strange.
Okay.
You know what I did remember?
What's that?
To bring a cassette. Now, I was not able to find my Blizzard of Oz cassette. It is somewhere over there.
Gotta be.
Buried among other cassettes and other things. However, I did find a cassette from Randy Rhoads' previous band. Do you know what that band was called?
Well, I do. I do at this point. It was Quiet Riot.
Oh, you cheated because you saw that.
Well, I didn't. Wow. I did, but I also knew this from before. But yeah, cool. What is that picture? What's that picture? Is this what Slipknot got their inspiration from? Let's see that.
Good for you for pointing that out. Yeah, that was their little, a lot of these bands, it was very much an image decade, right? When you talk about hard rock and metal. And this was like their little Eddie, their little mascot, as it were. So this guy used to wear he was like an insane asylum kind of figure, I suppose. And he just wore this mask all the time, and they incorporated that in their videos and everything. So anyway, Rhoads had left the band, and a guy named Carlos Cavazo replaced him, who was good, but not, very few people were of Rhoads' caliber. So, yeah, that was their debut record after he left.
I heard Rhoads was half decent at Asteroids. I think Lemmy from Motorhead would beat him at Asteroids when they'd play, but
When Ozzy and Rhoads met, a guy named Dana Strum from a band called Slaughter. I don't know if you've heard of Slaughter.
No.
Dana Strum, I don't think he wasn't in Slaughter yet. He was in some other band at that time. But
Smile?
No, it was not Smile. Maybe it was.
Striker?
Steeler? Something like that.
Steeler?
Striper?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah, no, now I forgot what I was going to say. Ozzy knew Dana Strum. Dana Strum said, I'm going to bring this kid down that you want to meet. And he's like, okay, whatever. Ozzy's out of his mind on the booze and the drugs. And Randy Rhoads comes in. This little guy barely weighs 100 pounds. And Ozzy looks at him, and he looks at Dana Strum, and he says, you got to be kidding me. Like, who is this woman?
He's a funny-looking guy. I will say that. Girl. He was a funny-looking guy. Yeah, girl. Yes. Yeah, that too.
But then he plugged in, and Ozzy offered him the job on the spot.
Of course he did.
Just that good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, these records, Diary included, these are they may as well say Randy Rhoads. Like, you know what I mean? These are Randy Rhoads records.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, they really only got by on Ozzy's name, I guess, at this time, right? I mean, even Daisley. Daisley's a great song. Well, I shouldn't say great. I don't want to kick around the word great, but really good songwriter too. Mm-hmm. So
and lyricist.
Yeah,
he wrote all those lyrics.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, Ozzy. I like Ozzy. He's kind of that bumbling, kind of drunk uncle character type of person,
He's the kind of guy that you need to keep the band together, or to put the plans in place to get the things in motion. He's just the guy that it seems like to have been able to get things moving. The plan.
No, I think it was the reverse. Actually,
good.
I think that Sharon kind of was the propelling force. I think behind not while this was being recorded, because this is the first record. And she didn't come into the picture until much later. But Dawn Arden, her her dad said, Ozzy, if you clean yourself up, he was holed up in some hotel room in California, just kind of giving it to himself right between the eyes. And, Don Arden with Sharon said, listen, clean yourself up, we'll represent you. And he said, okay. And he just kind of, stumbled his way through.
Clean yourself
fell into his lap. Well, think about that. I mean, the guy was perpetually hammered. I read his book, Ozzy, and he would tell you the same thing. He just was, goodbye to romance on this record. That was a goodbye to his career. He thought it was over. He was like, this is it, man. I'm done. And he kind of bungled his way through Sabbath too. I mean, again, I like him, but I just wonder, had it not been for Randy Rhoads, Jakey Lee, Zakk Wylde.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the way around, for sure.
Sharon Osbourne. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's just kind of crazy to know he came from sort of that same sort of slum life, kind of like the Beatles did. And this is sort of the way that he projected himself, and the way that he a working class guy and working class family. He saw how hard his family, or his dad at least, had to work, and still kind of almost seemed like he didn't appreciate getting to where he was as much as he should have.
Yeah, I always love that story, and I think I may have told this on a previous episode long ago when we did Sabbath, maybe not. But the first thing that Ozzy bought himself with a music-related check, can you guess what it was? The very first item. It was multiple versions of this item.
Oh.
It was
I got nothing.
it
a sandwich.
A pair of socks.
Socks.
He bought himself a bunch of socks because he said that when he was growing up, his parents were so poor that he always had holes in his socks, and he used to have to sew them himself. That was in his book. So the first thing he bought, Alex, were socks. Can you believe that?
That's crazy.
But that's
kind
of
wild.
I mean, and that's why I like him, right? Because he's a very kind of sentimental, just he's a harmless guy. He's just kind of,
Yeah.
He's a lovable.
He indulges and exuberantly so. He just maybe a little too heavily.
I'm telling you, man. You read that book, you're gonna want to put a helmet on, because it's the stories. He is the most prolific alcoholic that you can consider. I mean, and there's been some big names, right? But
a lot of people
I put him
running
near the very, very top of the list for just
wild, complete
insanity.
Well, where do you put this album? Where do you put this album in terms of his work? What do you say?
I was pretty hot on Diary of a Madman. I didn't listen to this record for a long time, because I wasn't super thrilled about songs like No Bone Movies and Steal Away the Night. But listening to it again, man, it is so good. I forgot how good this record was. But the more important question, Alex, is, what did you think of this album?
Yeah.
You can't not like this.
You can't not like it. You can't not like it. It's good. I do like Diary better, but this is good. This is good. I'm glad we did Diary first. I'm glad I listened to this. There's some really good songs on it, and it's funny you say Steal Away the Night, kind of not being a big fan of that, or No Bone Movies. Maybe previously, maybe you changed your thought on that, but I found those songs very enjoyable. The content on here is very dark, but quite dark in some instances, but it was good. It was good. Yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed this.
It's a terrific record.
I did. It really, I mean, it's good. It's just really good metal music.
Yeah.
From the 80s, man. And Rhoads, again, is awesome. I guess Daisley was the bass player, right?
Yes.
He's got some great moments on this album as well. Yeah. Yeah, it's good.
The one thing I don't like, I like him. I like his playing. But the one thing that always kind of, it's like a little pet peeve of mine, and people are going to get really angry now that I put this in their heads because it's going to be like an earworm.
Oh boy!
Listen to Crazy Train and listen for the bass line in that song. Yeah, it just kind of bounces along. It goes doot 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 doot, and that's all it does across the. The riff is really cool, right? But you can hear it go bop 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 bop. It just repeats that very line.
Tasteful, Brent. It's tasteful. He knows his place.
It kind of gets in your way after a while when you can't not hear it.
Got it. The problem is that eventually it just becomes annoying. Is that what I'm hearing? It's just kind of
because it's just the same thing. I mean, like I know that like people play root notes and stuff like that. That's fine, but there's just something about this that I don't know. I'm just being picky.
Yeah, sitting back on the beat. Yeah, sitting back on the beat, Brent. That's all he's doing. He's just letting the stars shine on this one.
And shine, Randy Rhoads does.
He does.
You know, Randy almost left the band because there was a little dispute. We know about the uncrediting and all the non-crediting rather. I guess Ozzy, Daisley wrote a lot of the music with Rhoads. He wrote a lot of the lyrics, if not like mostly all of them. And so I guess they thought that this is going to be a band. It was going to be the Blizzard of Oz, and everybody would be on equal footing. Because when the Crazy Train single came out, the Ozzy font was smaller than the Blizzard of Oz font, so everybody was like, "Oh, this is great! It's a band." And then all of a sudden, the record came out, and like it was Ozzy, and the album was called Blizzard of Oz, and they're like, "What is this? Are we a backing band now?" And the other two guys got sacked. But Randy said, "Well, I didn't sign up for this. Like, I'm not going to be a backing kind of songwriting musician for somebody who doesn't do a lot of the work," he said. And then the guys talked him into staying and said, "Listen, this could be a great opportunity for you. Stick around." And he did, but he almost quit.
He should have quit. He'd still be alive.
That's a very good point.
He should have left.
That's a really good point.
What did he get out of this?
Yeah.
That's oh man. But maybe we would never know the greatness of Randy Rhoads if he never joined Ozzy Osbourne as well.
Well, that's possible because he'd played on I think 2 or 3 different records with Quiet Riot, and they didn't go anywhere. So
didn't really stand out as much as he did here, eh?
Well, the thing about Randy Rhoads with this material is that if you think about it, and people have varying opinions on this, but Eddie Van Halen kind of rewrote the book, after guys like Hendrix, and but Randy Rhoads did a lot of rewriting himself, just in terms of like neoclassical, like almost Ritchie Blackmore, I think was one of his inspirations, like just that kind of minor key stuff. And the spooky kind of evil, like Diary of a Madman, when you think about that. Like, nobody was really doing that. And some of these things, like when you listen to I Don't Know, just the guitar theatrics that you hear are like ghostly. It's like, holy crap, how is he doing that? The same way that when people heard Eruption, they were like, how is he doing that? Rhoads did that too.
Yeah, well, he's got a great moment at the end of that, Revelation, Mother Earth, that whole solo near the end there. It's like... Man. Yeah.
Great example.
Great moments on here. Absolutely. Well, it starts off with I Don't Know.
Yeah. And again, just that fill, I think it's almost like a minute and a half in. It's like 120 something. It's like right before the second verse starts. I used to listen to that and go, well, what is that? Like, how is he doing that? It sounds kind of very eerie.
Yeah, he brought a sound, right? This kind of creepiness.
I always think about, Ozzy and Black Sabbath was, very, Tony Iommi is a great guitar player, but he wasn't nearly as exciting because he was a little bit older maybe as Randy Rhoads. Like he was 22, I think, and he like his solos are electrifying. So when, you listen to, the Sabbath records, they're one thing, but then you listen to like you push play on I Don't Know, and you hear the guitar and the fills and the riffs and the solos, and it's just like it literally is electrifying.
It didn't grab me at first. It took me a few listens. I wasn't a big fan right off the hop. I thought this was an odd starting song, the song to kick off the album.
It's kind of the riff is a bit clumsy, I find, because it's like
Yeah.
it's gallopy, right? And it kind of
Yep.
it's a weird, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's not it's no Crazy Train, that's for sure. But
Which I mean, and like maybe, this isn't. I mean, whatever. We're just talking about music here. A hot take, but I feel like it would have been great to start with Crazy Train. I feel like the Crazy Train would have been a great way to start this album, especially like coming out. It's like his first album since Black Sabbath, being kicked out of Black Sabbath. I just feel like this like Crazy Train would have been such a great way for people to have been reintroduced to Ozzy.
that's a good consideration, because like when you listen to the song, it's almost like Welcome to the Jungle. Like it has a proper kind of build up intro, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And it builds and it's exciting. And then that riff rips out of the speakers, and it's like, holy shit, this is crazy. Right?
And his laugh at the beginning, and like all aboard. It's like, hey, you're like, we're all aboard again with me, and like, let's get going. So when like I put in context the fact that this is his first album back, he's being kicked out of a band, and and when you think about him feeling like in terms of Goodbye to Romance, not maybe not being sure that he would ever be in a band again. It's so anyways, that's what I was thinking, but at the end of the day, I don't know, it's good.
I like that. I really like that, actually. It would be interesting to consider the record starting with Crazy Train, because I'd never ever again, I heard this when I was 12 for the first time, so it was never a possibility for me. I didn't consider it.
Did you hear it on the radio, though? Did you hear Crazy Train like a lot on the radio? Was it? No.
Oh, no. This stuff never got played on the radio. It was way too
Oh, really?
heavy.
Crazy Train?
No. In 1980, this came out in 80, right?
Yeah.
So on the radio, you were hearing like Blondie and Billy Squier and Cheap Trick and that stuff. And like REO Speedwagon. Like you're not hearing,
Interesting. Okay. All right. All right.
No,
okay.
This did not get played. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Well,
maybe in like pockets, like in like in LA or like it mainstream wise, no, it did not.
Crazy Train was like my introduction to Ozzy in, I don't know, 2004 maybe.
Oh, really?
2005. I loved this song. Wow. Absolutely loved Crazy Train. It was always maybe like one of those like those heavy metal songs that I was kind of like allowed to listen to, or something that I was like, that was, more mainstream-ish. That was actually on the radio, I feel like. But man, when I heard that, it was like
in 2004, it was certainly on the radio, because then it was
by that
classic.
Time. Yeah.
So
classic is.
But when it first came out, it was like, it was dark, right? It was almost scary a little bit.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I bet. I mean, and if you listen to the rest of this album, I could understand why, especially at that time, they'd be like, no Ozzy on the radio, nowhere, ever, at all, at any time. So, yeah, this is an awesome song. I probably my least favorite now on the album, just because it is what it is. But it's still an awesome song.
It's got like the "You Shook Me All Night Long" quality now, unfortunately, right? You feel like wanting to skip it when you listen to the record. You shouldn't, but you do feel that way. But the guitar tone for me really kind of lights me up.
I know. It does.
It's so
the solo, everything about the song it really is. I mean, that's why it grabbed me the first time, right? And that's why I am now tired of it, because I listened to it so frequently. I had mixed CDs with this song on, and I was stoked about it. Yeah. So
nice. Yeah. We did that cool little clip about Greg Leon.
That was us. Sorry,
did I give something away there?
Crazy Train, Swing Town, Crazy Town, Swing Train. Go on.
Crazy Town. There was another guy. So just to add on to that. So Greg Leon, the story goes, just very quickly, that he showed Randy Rhoads how to play Swing Town. And then Randy just started, like, he said, watch what happens when you play it faster. And that became Crazy Train. But apparently another guy tried to take credit for the Crazy Train riff. His name was Bill Weaver, I think, William Weaver. And he told people that he gave a very young Randy Rhoads the kind of melody and the idea for that riff. And then he kind of, took it and turned it into Crazy Train.
You know what, Bill? I'm sure you're telling the truth. I don't believe you. I just don't. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's just history, dude. And right. You didn't. So that's it's too bad. It's too bad for you, Billy. Yeah. Now, Goodbye to Romance, you said, was sort of like the precursor to what song from Diary?
What is the ballad on Diary again?
Well, it's not Tonight, though, is it? It's not that one. It's the one before that.
Flying High Again. Sorry,
Flying High Again. Right. Yeah,
yeah. Just because it's the antithesis, right? So it's like a goodbye to Black Sabbath, and it's a goodbye to all my friends. I guess I'll see you in the end, kind of thing. So he had just, and that was the very first song that he wrote with Randy Rhoads, and I believe it was a couple days after they met. He wrote that. So that was the controlling thought that was on Ozzy's mind, is that, like, my career, I really blew it with Black Sabbath, and I guess that I'm done.
They wrote all these songs together, and they did all this ahead of time at a, I don't know, not necessarily a recording facility, or an old recording facility or something, Monmouth or something like that.
It was some kind of a rehearsal site in Wales.
Yeah.
It was in the UK somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they had everybody but the drummer. I don't remember the guy's name.
Skinaggy or something. Skanaggy,
like
they called him Spencer. Actually, he was a roadie, an old gopher roadie guy. That as they said, he wasn't ever going to be the guy, but he sat in for a little bit while they wrote some of these songs, and then Kerslake came over.
Yeah. And Ozzy, that story about You Said It All, right? They were going to record, I think this was the single, and then the record company said, no, you don't want that. Give us something a little more up tempo. And so they ran away and wrote You Said It All. But in the rehearsal facility, Ozzy was drunk, and he was like passed out under the drum riser apparently while they were writing the song. And so I think Kerslake sang it. I think, is that right?
And then they used AI to change his voice to sound like Ozzy.
That's right. No,
right.
The interesting thing, it was never recorded except on Live EP. Remember that little cassette that I showed you last time? Cassette, they're all the same size. I don't know why I said the little thing.
Figuratively, I get it.
Little just because there's only 3 or 4 songs on it. But You Said It All. They recorded that at a sound check in a live capacity. So they were just like they recorded, I think Suicide Solution might have been too, but anyway, they did You Said It All in sound check. They recorded it, and Ozzy was reading from a song sheet. He was reading the lyrics. So he didn't really even know the song because they had written it while he was hammered or whatever. So they added crowd noise after, but that was the only time when it was recorded. So it didn't appear on these records.
A lot of these songs took some time for me to kind of warm up to, believe it or not. I really like Diary, and a lot of these songs were, they weren't quite up to snuff with that one, and I was kind of like, I'm glad we made it an album as part of this, because I think if I were to say, like, if you would be like, okay, we're gonna do a different album, but go back and listen to Blizzard, I might have found it a little more difficult to get into than actually having to listen to it, but listening to it for us to come talk about.
Isn't that really interesting? Because I prefer Diary. I think it's a superior record. And I thought that if I'm going to bring an Ozzy record in, it's going to be that one first.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
Worst, terrible album artwork, which I'm surprised we didn't really touch on. We talked about it. We didn't talk about really how bad the artwork looked. But in comparison, I think it was Rennie who talked about this one being creepier. And I mean, it is, and I think it's because it's not so campy. It's campy, but it's not like, it's not Diary of a Madman campy. So I'm with you, Rennie. This is definitely a creepier and just more production value for the album art here. D, we got a little Don't Start Too Late here.
I love it.
Yeah,
isn't that great? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, that's just like a little warm-up exercise. I think I think that's where it came from. I could be wrong about that. But obviously it's a little classical piece.
God, if I could record all of the warm-ups that I do on guitar, and put them out there, I'd be a gazillionaire.
Yeah. You should grab that guitar behind you and play one of them for us right now.
Oh, that one right there? My buddy Kevin's 12-string? Yeah. You bet. Thanks, Kev. I've been ripping that puppy. 12 strings sounds so good.
Look at you.
I mean, they don't make me sound like Randy Rhoads, but yeah, it's a nice one.
D is a nice kind of palate cleanser before you get into the heaviness of Suicide Solution. I think it's like perfectly placed.
Suicide Solution, yeah, this is great. Yeah, again, dark lyrics. I mean, it's metal, but like this is some dark stuff. I mean, obviously the name Suicide Solution implies that it's going to be a pretty dark song, but the content of it, again, that's where I'm like, I get where they wouldn't be playing his stuff or wanting to promote the kind of music that he was writing and singing. Mm-hmm. Well, they were, anyways.
4 years after this came out, Ozzy was sued because a kid named, I think his name was John McCollum. He was 19, killed himself after they found this in his Walkman. It had just played. And the parents took Ozzy to court, and Ozzy had to explain that it was, like not about killing yourself. It was, I think that, the first line goes, "Wine is fine, but whiskey's quicker." Mm-hmm. And he was talking about Bon Scott from AC/DC, who had just died. So that was the focus. Ozzy put that line in there. Daisley wrote most of it, but Daisley, I think, was asked after, and he said, I kind of was thinking about like Ozzy's drinking habits when I was writing this, because like he just, he drinks himself like to the edge. But yeah, a kid killed himself after listening to this song, apparently.
I had a feeling that if I said this was about suicide, then they would be like, well, actually, it's not really about suicide. But I mean, I find it hard to believe that it's not in some way about that, considering where he's coming from. And, again, I know that Ozzy didn't directly write all of these songs, but I don't understand how there couldn't be some correlation to.
I totally agree with you. I mean, what's that line? Where to hide suicide is the only way out. Like,
yeah. Yeah.
The music doesn't pull the trigger. You pulled the trigger, but I mean, it's pretty suggestive.
I mean, you do have to be careful. You have the freedom and the right to write and perform and do whatever it is that you want to do. And I'm not saying that he had to be accountable to this kid's actions or anything, but I mean, I think in some way you got to think about your influence and what you're writing about and how people are gonna take that. And with great power comes great responsibility.
Look at you, Alex.
Yeah. Well, I didn't say it. Uncle Ben said it, but it's still like, still a heavy line.
You're going to be 35 tomorrow in a couple hours. You're mature beyond your years. Oh, look at you. Chug, chug, chug. What is that? Is that Writers?
Yeah. How did you know? You saw it for like half a second. Wine is fine, but whiskey's cheaper. Huh? Is that why?
I know a thing or two.
You're right.
There you go.
Writer's tears.
Nice. It is.
Yeah. Jeez. Okay. Do you need to talk?
Yeah. Maybe I'm.
Yeah.
Maybe I've got the problem.
You don't. You get
no. I certainly don't. Yeah. I can assure you.
You certainly don't. Yeah.
The on the bright side of the song, the I guess it's the bridge, but it's kind of the chorus too. Where to? It's just a really well written little passage, don't you find?
Yeah.
Like it's in complete contrast with the verses and that that like super heavy riff, but then there's this really slick kind of like bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
totally.
And it's cool. And Ozzy, the melody lines, that's another thing. I'm gonna like super geek out here for a second, but like when I listen to Black Sabbath, I noticed that Ozzy would always sing along with the riff, and I think we talked about that before, right?
Yeah, yeah. Someone said it was lazy. Iommi say it was lazy.
Yeah, and when Dio joined the band after Ozzy left, they're like, finally, somebody who can write his own melodies, right? His vocal melody.
Yeah.
But Ozzy doesn't do that on this record, and this is his first post-Sabbath record. So I wonder who initiated that, because he doesn't sing along with the notes. You know what I mean? Like think about Iron Man. Do 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 do. He just like would sing. Has he lost his mind?
Yeah,
So,
no,
yeah.
totally.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. I was thinking about that, and I feel like he did that in a couple of songs. But
Did he?
like "Steal Away the Night," I think "Steal Away the Night" is one where he does do that a little bit. Steal away. Like, I think that if anything,
chorus.
yeah, exactly. But you know what? You make a good point here, Brent. You make plenty of good points. I'm just really honing in on this one right now. It's a great point.
People laugh at me when I'll say to Amy or someone like, "Hey, do you ever?" And they're like, "What? What's wrong with you? Like, just listen to the music."
Yeah,
like
you're
a
not
curse.
just listening. I am listening to it. I just dissecting it at the same time.
How can you not hear that?
What do you think? What is you a Mr. Crowley fan? I feel like this is very much like a big song for Ozzy fans. People love this song.
Yeah, I love this song.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. I like the Don Erie played that little keyboard intro for it. It's very gothic and kind of a little bit eerie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always liked it. I think it's great. This kicked off side 2 on the record.
That's good.
So yeah, Zach Wilde told me a really funny story about Mr. Crowley. When he joined the band, so when he was on the show, he told us the story. When he joined the band, they were in a room that was almost perfectly square, and everybody had a corner in their rehearsal facility, right? So there was him, and Phil Susan was the bass player, I guess, and then Castillo was the drummer, and Ozzy had his own little corner, and they would just play like that. And so Zach, he's 19 years old, and he's like, he's all excited, and so he wants to decorate his corner, and he thought, like, I'll put up like Jimmy Page and Hendrix and posters, and so he just does a kind of a wink to Ozzy. He went and got a poster from this pawn shop of Aleister Crowley, the occultist, who the song is like this weird magician. The song's about him. So he puts it up, and he's bald, right? He's a very like scary looking, intimidating guy. So he puts the poster up in his corner in his rehearsal facility. So Ozzy shuffles up, and this is Zach telling the story, and he does Ozzy's voice perfectly. And he says, "Hey, Zachy." He called him Zachy. Zachy. I won't say that. He says he calls him the C word. Okay, I'm not going to say it.
Don't say it.
He's the bold-headed C, right? Exactly. You don't know who that is? And he goes, no. And he said, how do you not know who that is? He called him Boss, right? I won't do Zach's voice. He said, Boss. You don't know who that is, Boss? And he says, no. And he said, I can't believe. He's like, well, bloody well, tell me who it is then. And so he says, that's Mr. Crowley. Like, he wrote a song about this dude. It's Aleister Crowley. And he looks at the poster, and he looks at Zach, and says, is that what he looks like then? And then he just kind of meanders away.
This is unreal. Hey, eight points for the story, 10 points for the Aussie accent, man. Well done. Well done.
You hear Zach?
Yeah, that was good. I bet he's all right too, but nice. That's great.
Good song.
Doesn't know who he is. Hey, that's
Isn't
okay.
that funny? You had no idea. Yeah.
He probably just forgot what he looked like.
Big blur for Ozzy Osbourne, I imagine.
Big blur.
Yeah.
So you didn't like No Bone movies? Or do you now?
I like it more. I just kind of, it's one of those things, right? It's when you're going through the record, you think like Mr. Crowley's great. Crazy Train, I don't know. Suicide Solution. And then you think, it's just not as good. I mean, it's good. Just by comparison, it's not.
This kind of reminded me a bit of Aerosmith when I heard this. So I feel like this is like a song where it's not quite metal enough, I think, for an Ozzy record.
Right.
It's more rock and roll. Everything's rock and roll, I know, people, but I'm just saying it's more along those lines. That's what I felt. It was so I liked it because it's a bit different than the usual Ozzy stuff, but I could feel it being a little more along the lines of the I don't know, not really metal music.
Yeah, I get that because maybe that's what I don't like about it. It doesn't seem to fit. But it was the last song written, and I think that it was written as a B-side. It wasn't intended to be on the record.
Or as a D-side.
What do you think it's about?
B movies. There's just one line in this thing. What is it? Something throbbing or something like that? Yeah. What is?
It's like
what is it?
Porn guilt.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's all very much about that that world. But what is a poison passion, a pulsating gland? I didn't really listen to lyrics at first. I just really enjoyed the guitar riff, and look, Rhodes is still great on this song. The riff is still awesome, and I was just like, no bone movies. I'm like, it's Halloween time. It's Blizzard of Oz. I mean, he's probably talking about horror movies. And then I listened closely. Not so at all. No. So
no.
Good one though. I do enjoy this one, but definitely out of place on the album. Out of place.
Yeah, I think that was my thing. I mean, it's.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was kind of goofy for me when I was younger.
You could have done without it. You could have done without it. You could have gone from Mr. Crowley to Revelation, Mother Earth. Which is, man, Ozzy's voice is great. It really is, and it's interesting. I had messaged you about this. They just inducted him into the Hall of Fame, so the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and it was really interesting. A lot of comments about how people just the people performing his music just could not. And I know they're not trying to sound like him, but when you hear other people sing his music, you really have this, I think, either renewed sense, a new sense, or a feeling of like, man, he really could. He just like sing, and he was just the essence of these songs. Because anybody else trying to sing these songs, it sounded difficult. It sounded not great.
Yeah, I think that, I see it a little differently. I never really considered Ozzy a singer in the same way that I don't consider Michael Stipe a singer.
Okay.
They're vocalists for me. They're not like Bruce Dickinson as a singer.
Okay. Okay, fine. If you want to get technical, Brent.
No, not a slight.
All right.
But I will say that when I think about this record, I think Ozzy kind of figured out like where his range was. And he did very well to kind of, stay within that. It's interesting though, because when you listen to Sabotage and you listen to songs like The Writ, like he sounds great. Again, he's not like a proper singer, but like he sounds really, really good.
Good for what it is. Good for the music that they're making. Absolutely.
I couldn't agree more. Like I wouldn't want to hear anybody else sing this if you put it that way. Right? In the same way that I wouldn't want to hear anybody else sing Rat songs other than Stephen Pearcy. And he,
or REM songs. Who would you want to hear sing REM songs other than maybe Gord Downey, right?
You.
So,
I want to hear you sing those songs. I mean,
that's me in the corner.
Oh, there you go. See, you can do it.
Putting up my Mr. Crowley poster. Hey, in the corner. Revelation is just a nice song. I really just enjoyed it being at this spot. Again, it's kind of like, it's obviously it's not an interlude like D is, but it's sort of like your side B ballad, obviously, and good combination of instruments and instrumentation, composition. Yeah,
I like it. And some jam comes out of it in the end. I like that.
Steal away.
You know what? I used to not like this song, but I don't know. It's just good Aussie type fun, right? It's good spirited.
I mean, yeah. I feel like this back half really is just like kind of more rock. Revelations kind of and Mr. Crowley are heavier considered. I think in more of that. I know Revelation is more of a ballad, but it has more of that heavier essence to it than these other ones. But yeah, Steal Away the Nights. It's fun. It's cool. I liked it.
Yeah. good. It's a good album closer. It's it's no Diary, obviously, to close a record, but it's it's a little bit more pedestrian than Suicide or Crowley or anything like that. But it's fine.
Does this end the album? Because because the one I'm listening to, okay, interesting. Had you looking at me, looking at you,
Unreleased track.
Oh, it was, eh? There's another one that's fun, not necessarily a very much like an Ozzy song, but it's
exactly
or a metal song, but good.
It sounds like kind of middle period Kiss. Like it's
right. Okay,
it's very LA sounding, that song.
Yes,
it doesn't sound like Ozzy to me at all.
No,
it's not terrible. I don't mind it, but it doesn't sound like an Ozzy song to me.
No.
That's why I wish I had that cassette, because the last song, I just remember from being a kid, like that was the Steal Away the Night was the last song. I remember that.
It's a great way to end it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I appreciate that. I like it.
Yeah. There you go. So what's it going to be?
I'll give it 4.5. 4.5 out of 5 for enjoyability. Yeah. Well, I couldn't go up to 5
for enjoyability.
Couldn't go.
You're 85 now, not 35. I'm going to give it a 4.5 for enjoyability.
For enjoyability, for not wasting my time.
Christ, that's a good record, eh?
Jeez. Gonna have to go take my Robaxacet before bed.
That's right. Well, just keep hitting that bottle. You won't need any of that,
buddy. I'm turning 34 in an hour and a half. 35. See? Oh boy, I gotta stop. I gotta stop right now. I'm gonna keep going.
Maybe have a glass of water. Maybe have a coffee.
There you go. Get my water here.
What was that? What was that thing?
This? Oh, it's a water bottle. This is the water bottle. That's all.
Are you sure?
Yeah, 100%. It's just a funny looking water bottle.
Very suspect.
Yeah.
Huh. All right.
Sorry.
You never know with you.
God. You shouldn't. That's what makes me mysterious.
Well, you're so mysterious.
So mysterious.
All right. Whoops. Oh, wow.
That was on purpose. Relax. It was on purpose. It was a shtick.
Remember the shtick? Yeah, it was the shtick. Remember that time you smashed the glass against your teeth?
It was Van Halen 2.
Yes, it was.
Episode what? 5? Something like that.
It was in there. Yeah.
Somebody get me a dentist.
Somebody get Alex a dentist.
All day at the dentist? Yeah. So. Okay, sorry. The folks are like, we're almost at an hour. What are you doing?
Yeah. Wrap it up, losers.
Wrap it up.
So, no, I was just thinking, this is a band that we haven't done yet, and it kind of reminded me of Ozzy, because I was thinking about one of the members in the band who is just a crazy man. His name was, they used to call him Tonka. His name was Paul Chapman. The band is UFO. Let's do Force It.
This is super exciting because no idea. Force It?
Force It.
Force It.
Bring up the record.
Okay.
See it? What do you see?
Whoa. Let me just see. I see a lot of sinks.
Yeah.
And faucets.
See? English band.
Wow.
How do you say faucet if you live in the UK? Faucet.
I was gonna I'll let you take that one.
That's
yeah. I'm completely distracted by all of the faucets and the sinks that I have not seen the man and the woman kissing in the bathtub with the woman wearing no pants. I haven't been able to catch on to that just yet. I just see the taps,
How do you know she has no pants?
How do I know she has no pants? Well, she's got no pants right here. There's no pants.
You see, Force It has multiple applications, though, doesn't
it? Who's going to say?
Yeah.
It looks like this guy wants to tap that. Huh? Oh, gosh.
Well done. What a way to cap off the show. Well done.
Wrap it up.
Way
to wrap it up. Cool. Well, thanks, man. Ozzy, That's great. I didn't know how I would feel about Ozzy. Clearly, I do now.
Maybe we'll come back and do
Awesome.
another Ozzy record at some other point. Bark
All
at the
right.
Moon. Yeah.
Okay, good. Let's crush 200 apps, and then we'll get to Bark at the Moon.
Done.
Unless you run out of ideas before 200. No,
Won't happen.
Won't happen.
No.
You've listened to 200 plus albums.
Oh God, dude.
What do you think about it? Isn't that kind of crazy? Then again, I was just on iTunes looking at all of the new music that's come out again today, just today, and in the last week, and in the last month, and I'm like, who are these people?
And it was different then because you were able to focus more on kind of a lesser, availability of records.
Drink or mark off on your bingo card, reminisce about how great music was in the music industry prior to the 1990s. Clouds.
There you go.
All right, man. UFO. Force
All right.
it.
Force it.
Force it.
Who's
You like dags?
Or did it?
Sorry, you like dogs? Dags. All right. Jog on.
Bye.
Later.